Hello, people. Andrew here, talking about comics from a reader, collector, speculator, investor point of view, in that order of importance to myself. And today I'm talking about a series called Powers. It was released by Image Comics from the year 2000 to 2004. Volume 1 was 37 issues plus one annual. It was written by Brian Michael Bendis and illustrated by Michael Avon Oeming. I should point out that they're actually a very good collaboration. Michael Van Oeming didn't do just the art; he helped develop the stories and the plot lines, etc., etc. So it was a collaborative effort as far as the storytelling was concerned. Okay, so what's it about? It's a police detective crime story. We're following the adventures of two detectives from the Chicago Police Department. We got Christian Walker, who's the veteran on the force, and the rookie Dina Pilgrim. Why are we interested in these people and what kind of cases? Well, they follow and investigate cases that involve superpowers, either from a villain or from a hero. When we get into those situations where things don't make sense logically, like if there's a sealed room, no access points, there could be some indication that teleportation happened here, or maybe somebody turned into gaseous form. Maybe it was a mental thing, whatever that caused the crime or whatever. So whenever there's a suspect of powers being involved, these are the detectives that you call. And why these two? Well, Dina Pilgrim is the rookie. She wanted to be assigned to this particular division, but Christian Walker, at one point in time, he was a superhero, well respected and well liked superhero, but he lost his powers. And when that happened, he became a police detective. He still has close ties with both the hero and villain super community. And that's reflected in the stories, and it gives him an access point that many other detectives won't have. He's quiet. He's a little standoffish. Very keeps his thoughts to himself. Whereas Dina Pilgrim is the exact opposite. She's brash and although she's aware of societal norms and conventions, often abuses those. Sometimes just for a reaction, but sometimes a reaction that's related to the case. Catch them off guard, and they may spill something or give you some information that's unaccounted for. She's brave and she's courageous, and I would say she's fearless, but she's darn close to that. So these two go out and try to solve some of these crimes. The very first crime that they try to solve is who killed Retro Girl, a hero that is been slain, and nobody knows exactly why, or why would somebody want to slay or kill Retro Girl. So it's 37 issues plus an annual, detailing the story about Christian Walker and Dina Pilgrim as a detective solving these crimes. Is it worth the read? And the answer is yes. I found it very engaging. Bendis, he was writing crime fiction at the time, and Michael Van Oeming, he was doing some illustrations for crime fiction and crime nonfiction as well in a graphic format. So they had an interest in doing a criminal procedural type of story. So they got together and created Powers. It's a good tale. They have knowledge. They've done research. They've written stories this way, so it feels like a detective story. There's a fair amount of all the procedure that goes with it. It's the crimes committed, the initial investigation, the gathering up the suspects, the interviewing the suspects, tracking down further clues, catching up with the killer or the perpetrator, and then that's about where it goes. We don't get to see the whole. It's not like Law and Order where we see the law part and then there's the order part. We see the law part, and so it's very good. 37 issues is not a long issue run, so you get about 5 or 6 cases in here. And one of the other things I like is because Bendis is very good with dialogue. At some points later on, it gets a little bit more of everybody has to have witty banter as opposed to just true dialogue. But in the earlier years, and this was, as I say, around 2000, 2004, people were allowed to have dialogue without always having a witty retort. And you see some of that dialogue and the exchange also in the interviewing of suspects and what have you. It's very well crafted, entertaining, and engaging. So I enjoyed all of that. And the artwork Van Oeming sort of liked what he saw with Bruce Timm stuff with the Batman the Animated Series, and wanted sort of that sort of noir cartoon without being a cartoon for kids sort of style with the light and the shadow. He was impressed by that and wanted to sort of imitate that, and he did a really good job of that within Powers. It's not a Bruce Timm imitation, but it's an imitation somewhat of style, of that style of storytelling. And that's what another thing again about I like about the read is it's good storytelling. So yes, I definitely recommend this series. So what about spec or investment on this sort of thing? Well, it did become a TV show in 2015 and 16. There was 2 seasons, a total of 20 episodes, 10 per season. So it had its run as a TV series. If there was going to be any kind of hype or any kind of buzz about it, it would have been somewhere back then. But you can still get a first issue copy of Powers in really good shape. You don't have to get it graded, but in really good shape for $25 to $50, maybe even less. And the rest of the books, they're not easy to find in dollar bins. I was going to pick up a collection in dollar bins, but I don't seem to find them anywhere. The original run, this is not issue number 1, this is like issue number 25 or so. The first issue, they had about 12 to 13,000 issues printed before they went to a second print, and then pretty much all of the rest of the Powers as developed had a sales of about 25,000 a month. So there are copies out there. There's just not a ton of copies with some of these other books that release 300,000 copies. So finding these in a dollar bin is not so easy. However, there are other ways to read this particular series, and as I say, it's not worth a great deal of money. The first one I might be interested in getting a copy of, but I'm not going to buy the rest of this series, and here's why. Because sometimes fortune favors the diligent. Twice a month or so, I go to the local thrift store. And I hunt for little treasures. As you can see, I collect CDs, I collect DVDs and Blu-rays, and I collect comic books. And every once in a while, you will find a graphic novel. The comic books that they have on sale at the particular thrift store, they have no idea how to price those things. They'll put a $1.99 sticker directly on the cover of a book that's worth less than $1 in a dollar bin, and by putting a $1.99 sticker on the cover, you've made it worthless. But graphic novels, they have no idea the value of a graphic novels or what it means to a reader or somebody who's collecting. So I bought this, which is volume number 1, for $6. It's the first story arc. It's got I say the first because I also got volumes number 2 and 3 at the same time. So I bought volumes 1 through 3 for $18. It's the complete Powers storyline for the first 37 issues plus the annual. It's loaded with extras as far as it's got interviews, it's got sketches, it's got a cover gallery, alternate cover gallery, bits that were showed up in newspapers. It's just, and it's slightly oversized than a comic book, so the pages are bigger and brighter. It's in excellent condition. I'm not going to be buying the floppy copies because this is such a good collection of this series. Very happy to find it, and it's worth, that's why I say that I go to the thrift store like twice a month looking for deals, and every once in a while you are rewarded. I've got a couple of other ones that I've been rewarded with, but this Powers one is really nice. So as far as speculation investment, I would still probably get issue number 1 because it's the first appearance of Christian Walker and Dina Pilgrim. As far as collections, you've got if you're collecting the whole Image line, although I don't know why you would do that, it is such a wide spectrum of books. It's gotten so big now that it's not like a small company like Atlas or something where you can complete it in a relatively short period of time, but Image is much, much bigger. But Brian Michael Bendis material, Michael Van Oeming material, as I said, there are some of the covers are homage or swipes of record covers. There's a few cameos in here of other creator-owned characters. Like I think this one has a savage dragon. So you could try and track that stuff down because there's a few of those little Easter eggs in there. Yeah, I think there it is. There's Savage Dragon up there, and I think Mike Allred's got one of his characters, Madman, showing up in there as well. So there's little Easter eggs like that throughout the book. Not many, but there's a few there. This, for example, is a swipe of the Beatles' "A Hard Day's Night," and this is Janis Joplin's "Cheap Thrills." Swipe, not a very good image there, but that one's not so bad. Of the "Hard Day's Night." So there are other little reasons in there to find for collecting situations. This is volume number 2, is it? No, this is volume 3. Let's show you volume 2. I like volume 2. And there's volume 2. So there are other reasons to collect other than just the powers. I just say for just little small things like that. But if you get a chance to get your hands on this set, now they originally retailed around 30 bucks American, 35 Canadian. I'm Canadian, so it would have been 35. I imagine that if they're still available on a store shelf, that it would be more than that, going back for multiple printings. But I think it's a good collection. I like this collection. It's not just taking the stories and just putting them in a hardcover and then leaving it at that. It does have a lot of extras, and it's slightly larger. I love this collection. This is no reason for me to buy the floppies on this one. So that's pretty much it for Powers. Now, Powers did go on beyond this point in time, and under Marvel's Icon label, but I haven't read those. I've got like the first issue or two, but I haven't read those, so I don't know how well that went. So when I read that, when I collect all of that, I'll give a shout out. But in the meantime, first run of Powers from Image 2000, 2004. Won Best New Series in 2001. Brian Michael Bendis won Best Writer for both years, 2002 and 2003. But I suspect that part of that is his work that he did on Ultimate Spider-Man, which is right around this time as well. So it's definitely a story worth reading, and I do recommend it. So that's what I've got to say for today about Powers. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. And you know what? Hopefully, we'll see you again soon.